Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we have an updated list for 2025 of the most and least attractive male hobbies according to women. I have it pulled up on my laptop here, so we're gonna go through it together. Now, the last time I reacted to one of these, the chart ended up being fabricated, but I have to say, I still had so much fun reacting to it and then reading your comments afterwards, so it was worth it in my opinion. And if you're new here or you haven't subscribed yet, it would mean the world to me if you hit that follow button and joined our little community here. Now, before we get into it, I also want to make something really clear. You should never choose a hobby just because you think that women will find it attractive. What actually makes a hobby attractive is that you enjoy it, that it's something that you do for yourself. Maybe it brings you peace or excitement or purpose, whatever it is. That energy, the fact that you have something that lights you up and gives your life structure and meaning, that is what women are drawn to. So I don't want you to be discouraged. I don't want you to feel bad. This is all fun here. And from a woman's perspective, a man with a hobby is almost always more attractive than a man without one, because it tells me that you have your own life, your own identity. You're not just scrolling all day or waiting for something to happen. You're doing something that matters to you, and that's a good look. So these charts are based on percentage data from women who were asked which hobbies they found attractive. And I have some thoughts. We're going to start with the most attractive hobbies, go through them one by one, starting from the bottom, and then move on to the least attractive. So make sure you stick around until the end. So taking a look here at the chart, the top 15 most attractive hobbies to women, percentage responded attractive by activity. So coming in at number 15, we have traveling, which I'm really not surprised at all by this one. I think traveling shows curiosity, openness to new cultures, a sense of adventure. It signals someone who wants to experience life, not just stay in their comfort zone. Plus, let's be honest, the real reason why it's probably there is because most women love going on trips. It's fun, it's exciting, and often a way to create lasting memories with someone. So when a woman sees that a man enjoys traveling, it might hint to her the potential for shared adventures, spontaneous weekend getaways. It's romantic, so not surprised at all by that one. Next up, we have blacksmithing. I have to say, this one did surprise me a little bit. I don't see this often. I don't know anyone personally who is a blacksmith, but honestly, I can kind of see why it's on here. It's very rugged and very masculine. It's giving handmade sword energy. Protect me. I don't know. I think that raw craftsmanship is appealing, so that makes sense. Next up, we have archery. There's something very focused and calm to me about a man who does archery. Again, don't know one personally, but whenever I see it online, I'm like, okay. I've never tried archery, but it looks incredibly difficult. Like, I think it's one of those things that you see someone do it and you're like, oh, I could do that. But then you go to do it and you're humbled really quickly. I don't think so. I think when I look at it, I know to myself, Courtney, that's not something that you could do. Don't try it. But so it requires skill. I think anything that requires a level of skill is usually pretty attractive to women. Well, maybe not everything, but you know what I'm saying. Next is hiking. And I think to a lot of women, hiking is a green flag. It signals that you're outdoorsy, you're active. Let's get off our phones and touch grass energy, which is always good. It's refreshing, right? Even if you're not into hiking yourself, I'm not personally, there's something reassuring about a guy who enjoys it. It might suggest that he's grounded, capable, probably has a few useful survival skills in his back pocket, which, let's be real, could come in handy one day. Plus, there's something attractive about a man who's comfortable in nature and doesn't mind getting a little bit of dirt on his boots. I'm sure a lot of you feel that way about women who hike. Okay. Next is astronomy. I guess there's something intriguing about a guy who's into astronomy. It says, I think about the bigger picture, both literally and metaphorically. It feels intellectual, thoughtful, a little poetic, like someone who doesn't just look at life on the surface, I guess. And I'm sure you would get bonus points here if you can point out a constellation on a date. Very romantic. The next one is photography. Photography is creative, it's observant. I'm sure a lot of women saw photography and thought, oh, he probably knows my angles and could take some great pictures of me and be my Instagram boyfriend. Win-win. Okay, next up is swimming. And whenever I think of a guy swimming, I just think of someone who's incredibly athletic and confident for some reason. Like, that's just what I picture in my head. Let's be honest, I'm sure for a lot of women, the shirtless part doesn't hurt. There is just something that is undeniably attractive about someone who is strong and capable and totally at ease in the water. Personally, for me, it's because I'm a terrible swimmer. I doggy paddle like my life depends on it, and my husband loves to make fun of me for it. So one of us has to be a good swimmer, and it's not me. A lot of the time for me personally, and I can't speak for all women, but I think I'm definitely like this. If someone is good at something that I am not good at, that I would like to be better at, it's attractive to me. Like if they have mastered a skill or they're good at something that I wish I could do or that I'm just not good at myself, I don't know, it's almost like you have admiration for that person because you know how difficult it is. I would not say that swimming is the most difficult thing. However, I am just not good at it, but I also have not practiced a lot. So maybe if I did, I would be better. But anyway, it just made me think of that. Next, we have gardening, which I'll be honest, surprised me at first. But when I really thought about it, it started to make more sense. I think a guy who gardens feels very grounded and nurturing and patient. Because if you have ever gardened before, you know that you need all of those things, which is maybe more rare in men. Or it's just not something that I really see a lot of men into. So when a man is into gardening, maybe she's into gardening too. So that's something that you could do together. Or again, it gives off the vibe that you are grounded, nurturing, patient. Plus, if you can grow fresh herbs, that's a major win for everybody. It makes sense when you really think about it, but I have to be honest, when I first saw it, I was a bit shocked to see it on here. Next, we have writing. Now, when I think of a writer, I think of someone who can express how he feels, someone with emotional intelligence, depth, the ability to reflect and communicate clearly and probably very well. But I also have to be honest, from a woman's perspective, I think writing as a hobby has this underrated sex appeal to it. And I think it's because in movies and these like girly romance books, the writer's often this mysterious guy who disappears to a lake house or a cozy cabin in the woods to work on his novel. And he's wearing a flannel and glasses, and maybe his hair swoops down in front of his face a little bit too perfectly. I don't know, there's just this picture of what he looks like. It's romanticized for sure, but there is something undeniably attractive about a man who's thoughtful, creative, a little mysterious. So again, makes sense. Next up, painting, another nice creative outlet. You're expressing yourself, love that. Not to mention probably talented. Painting is so much more difficult than it looks. Makes sense. Next, we have woodworking, a guy that can build something with his hands. That's timeless. There is just something, again, undeniably attractive about that kind of quiet capability, the I can fix it, build it, or make it better energy. Yep. Big thumbs up from me. It gives strong, dependable, man's man vibes. Like if the world fell apart tomorrow, he would be out in the back building us a cabin, making me some shelves, a handmade coffee table, some little things to put on the wall for the cats to jump on. I'm just always in awe of people who can build things with their hands because, again, not really in my skill set. So love it. Next is one that I love, and that is cooking. You don't need to be a Michelin star chef, just someone who can cook a good meal and enjoy it. I think it's very caring, it's practical, and it feels really intimate for some reason when someone cooks you a meal. I don't know why. Next is playing an instrument. That one got 95% thumbs up. There's something so captivating about someone who can create music. I think it's a mix of talent, passion, presence, whether it's, guitar, piano, something that's a little bit more unexpected. It shows such a level of dedication and creativity. Plus, let's be honest, there is just something also so magnetic about a guy who can sit down and play something that makes everyone stop and listen. Like, it's just instant main character. Something else I will say here for playing an instrument, the people who can hear music and then just start playing it, you blow my mind. I just have to say, if you can do that, bravo, because I seriously, it amazes me every single time. Again, because I can't do it and I know how hard that is. So bravo if that's you. Next is foreign languages. Not surprised at all. Smart, cultured, effortlessly worldly. I think speaking another language instantly adds a layer of intrigue to a person. It's, you're on a romantic getaway in Paris and you're ordering from the menu like a local. You are cool. There's something incredibly attractive about a man who can just connect with people beyond people in his own culture. Again, another one that is just so impressive to me. Sometimes I will get comments or messages from people and they type out a wonderful message and then they're like, sorry if I made a mistake, English is not my first language. And I just have to say, never apologize to me for messing anything up if you are trying to speak English to me, okay? Because I can only speak English, and I feel so lame for that. If you can speak another language even a little bit and you're trying, I don't think you ever need to apologize, in my opinion. And the most attractive hobby to women in 2025 is reading. I think this one absolutely checks out. I am not surprised in the slightest that it's number one. I think reading signals intelligence, introspection, depth. Studies even show that men who read fiction specifically tend to be more empathetic, which I think is really interesting. And if you remember, I've mentioned before the Hot Dudes Reading Instagram page. Yes, it's a real thing, a whole Instagram page dedicated to photos of good-looking men caught reading in public. Yeah, so clearly women are very into this whole vibe. There is just something so sexy about a man holding a book, lost in thought, learning, doing whatever he's doing. It's similar to the writer energy, in my opinion. I think it's a bit of mystery, intellect, quiet confidence. Plus, it naturally opens the door to deep, meaningful conversations. So what's not to love? So just looking at this list of the most attractive hobbies, I think a few clear themes stand out to me that might explain why women are drawn to men who pursue these interests. First thing that stands out to me is hands-on skills and capability. So many of these hobbies involve working with your hands, whether it's woodworking, cooking, gardening, blacksmithing, playing an instrument. Women are often very drawn to a man's hands, as I have said so many times before, because they tell a story. They show care, skill, strength, the ability to create, to nurture. There is something deeply reassuring and sexy about a guy who can build, fix, or make things happen with his own two hands. Like, the capability is just chef's kiss. It signals competence, dependability, qualities that are so attractive. Second thing is curiosity, depth, and emotional intelligence. So the hobbies like reading, writing, astronomy, learning foreign languages speak to a man's intellect and his emotional depth. They show that he's reflective, empathetic, open to understanding the world and people on a deeper level. I think this kind of emotional intelligence is incredibly attractive because it suggests that he can communicate, he can connect, and he can grow, not just with himself, but with other people too. And those are good traits to have. The next is adventure and an openness to experience. Things like traveling, hiking, swimming, archery. These all suggest a sense of adventure, confidence, and a willingness to get out of your comfort zone. I think these hobbies hint at a man who embraces life fully and who is really curious about the world around him. And for a woman, this signals exciting possibilities. Again, those shared experiences, spontaneous trips, memories to be made together. Makes sense. And then creativity and passion, creative outlets like painting, photography, music, writing. This shows a man's passion and ability to express himself in different ways. Creativity is magnetic, and it's a sign that he's engaged with life and confident enough to be vulnerable and authentic. So at the core of all of this, these hobbies reveal a man who is capable, curious, and connected. Someone who can take care of himself and the people around him, who thinks beyond the surface, who actively seeks meaning and adventure in his life. Okay, next we are on to the least attractive hobbies, so we're going to start from the bottom. So this is the top 15 least attractive hobbies to women, percentage responded attractive by activity. I'm going to try to be a little quicker with this list, so we're going to put comic books and cosplay together because it's sort of in the same realm. I think these hobbies could be a real hit or miss depending on the relationship. If you and your partner share this same passion, it can be a really fun bonding experience that's a big part of your lives. Totally valid. But for someone who's not into it, which I do think a lot of people aren't, it can feel like a disconnect or just not really relatable at all. So like anything, it really just depends on compatibility. Do what makes you happy, but just know it might not land well with everyone. I do think it's kind of funny that reading came in at number 1 for attractiveness. But then comic books are on the least attractive hobbies to women list. So I guess reading is attractive, but it just depends on what you're reading. Feels a little hypocritical, doesn't it? It's really all about how it's perceived. So in this case, traditional books are brainy and introspective, and then comic books are niche and less serious. Goofy to me. Next is debating. That only got a 30% attractiveness score. Healthy communication is attractive. Constantly trying to win an argument, not so much. No one wants to feel like they're on trial every single time that they speak. I think if every conversation turns into a debate, it stops feeling like a connection and starts really feeling more like a competition and can kind of put a rift between you. I think we all know someone who always has to be a contrarian or disagree just for the sake of disagreeing, and oh my goodness, is this person exhausting to be around. So I could see why this could be unattractive. Drinking only got a 29% attractive score. Now, I don't drink, which I've mentioned many times before on my channel, so this one stood out to me. I think there's a big difference between enjoying a drink socially and then making it a main hobby of yours. It can come off just as a little bit immature or like you're stuck in party mode. Plus, so many new studies have come out about how harmful alcohol really is. So yeah, it's not necessarily giving attractive energy or like long-term partner green light there. And I do personally think it's a huge turnoff when someone can only have a good time if alcohol is involved or like someone makes this their entire personality. The next one is MTG, which is Magic the Gathering. This one got a 28.5% attractiveness score. I'm honestly surprised it scored that high. This one is so niche, and for most women, I think it would just be a little bit hard to relate to, especially if it starts to feel more like a lifestyle than a casual hobby. It's not that there's anything wrong with being into strategy games, but I think when it takes up a ton of time, energy, conversation, it can create a disconnect if your partner also is not into it as well. So just like anything else. Next is anime, which got a 27.4% attractive score. This one is definitely controversial. Personally, I don't find it weird at all. I know people who are into anime, and I think it can be a totally normal and valid interest, but I could also understand why some women see it as a turnoff. I think the issue comes in when it starts to feel like an obsession or becomes someone's entire personality. But I think that's also kind of true with anything. A man whose entire personality is sports or the sports team that he likes would be a major turnoff to me as well. So I also sometimes think things like anime, cosplay, that kind of stuff is often tied to other traits for people like emotional immaturity, social awkwardness, which might not be as appealing. Now, of course, we can use our brains and know logically that not everyone who is into things like anime, cosplay, comic books is emotionally immature or awkward. That's not true at all. But I think sometimes the way that it comes across online in movies, TV shows, things like that, people tie those traits to those categories of interest for some reason. I don't necessarily agree, but I think in this case, it's less about anime itself and more about the energy and identity that some people associate with it or wrap around it. So just a woman's perspective on that. Okay, the next one is makeup, which got a 24.4% attractive score. This one is a bit of a curveball, and I will be honest, it's personally not attractive to me. If a guy was into makeup, it would not personally be an attractive thing to me. Just being honest. While everyone should feel free to express themselves however the heck they want, I think makeup on men or men being really into makeup is still so rare that it can feel a little bit jarring or just out of alignment with what a lot of women are naturally drawn to. So it's not about being judgmental, it just doesn't necessarily spark attraction for me personally. We are all allowed to have our preferences. Now, I do think it's different if you're an actor or something and you're wearing makeup for a movie or a photo shoot or something like that. I don't necessarily think that's what this is. I think this is makeup being one of your hobbies as a man, which I'm sure there are men out there who are into makeup. That's fine. You do you. I'm not into it, but there are 24.4% of women who were surveyed that find it attractive. So there's someone out there for you. Okay, the next least attractive hobby is crypto at 23.1% attractive. There's nothing wrong with being financially savvy. Investing is great, but when crypto becomes your whole personality or you're constantly trying to convert people into it like it's a pyramid scheme, major ick. It starts to feel less like a hobby and more like a sales pitch. So safe to say, most women aren't into the crypto bro vibe. Next, we have cigars, which got a 22.3% attractive score. Some people really enjoy cigars, and that's totally fine. It tends to feel like a celebratory or special occasion thing, like at weddings or big milestones, things like that. A lot of the guys I've seen who enjoy cigars also appreciate things like whiskey and sort of that classic old school vibe. And of course, like anything, everyone has their own preferences, but I think sometimes it can come across as projecting a certain, how do I say, alpha male podcast energy to women, which is why I think it's ranked not so attractive. I mean, it's not the worst. It's middle of the road. Only 22.3% of women find it attractive, but I do think there are a lot of guys like that online who have kind of given it a bad look. Again, just not something that I'm into as someone who's very into health and wellness. I personally cannot imagine smoking anything in 2025. Ever for me, but especially in 2025. Clubbing, yeah, no surprise. Clubbing often gives off very party boy vibe, which many women tend to outgrow pretty quickly, especially women who are looking for something serious and long term. I think it can feel less mature or grounded compared to the hobbies that might suggest deeper interests or goals. Only 20% of women surveyed found this attractive. Not something I'm into. Again, we are really sticking on theme here, back to back with cigars, clubbing, and now marijuana. Only 15.9% of women surveyed this as attractive. Now, this is one of those things that tends to be pretty divisive. I think when marijuana use is occasional and balanced, it might not be as big of a deal to some people. But if it's excessive or it becomes a sort of central part of someone's lifestyle, it can come across as a lack of motivation or drive. Again, personally, no surprise, I'm not into it. I would not be attracted to a guy who regularly uses marijuana. Again, full disclosure, I don't drink alcohol, so any kind of substance use tends to feel unattractive to me overall. Not every woman would agree. There are many women who participate in this, and you should date one of them. I'm kind of surprised to see how unattractive this one ranked, and that is Funko. Now, I don't personally have an issue with Funko. Collect what you want, but I think to a lot of women, this can come across as juvenile if it's sort of, again, your main personality trait. I know some women are into this as well, though, so there is someone out there for everyone. Someone I used to work with had, I'm not joking, probably hundreds of Funkos on her desk at work. And I think her husband was into it too, so great match. Again, there's someone for everyone. If you're not into it, that's fine, someone else is. Again, same thing with me thinking some of these are unattractive. Okay, I'm married to someone who doesn't do any of these things. So next, which did not surprise me at all, is arguing online, which only got a 12.3% attractive score. This one just screams chronically online for obvious reasons. Touch some grass, take a deep breath, and stop arguing with people. I'm sure there will be people arguing in the comment section here, and now you know it's unattractive, so perhaps you should stop doing it. The next one here, coming in at only a whopping 10.8% attractive score, is pornography. Do we think that this is a hobby? If someone considers porn a hobby, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a lot a bit concerned, actually. Honestly, this should not surprise you. I think porn is deeply harmful. I think excessive consumption damages intimacy, it warps realistic expectations, and it numbs emotional availability. In my opinion, it is not just a casual pastime. I think it often builds walls that prevent genuine connection and creates lasting issues within relationships. For anyone wanting real closeness, I think porn is a serious obstacle, not just a harmless habit. Certainly would not consider it a hobby. Gag. Yeah, this is the most unattractive to me out of anything on this list. Next is gambling, which only got a 6.4% attractive score. No surprise, high risk, low security. Women want stability, not someone who treats money like a game. Money is the number one cause for divorce, so gambling is going to be a no from me. It's reckless, it's unattractive. No. And the most unattractive hobby in 2025 is, drumroll please, manosphere. This does not surprise me in the slightest. If your entire identity is built around internet echo chambers that are bitter towards women, that's not it. And I can guarantee you that most men who are in healthy relationships are not taking place in this kind of content. I guess I also don't know what they're considering manosphere. I think some people have a different opinion of it. For me, I'm just thinking of the content that is very bitter and hateful towards the opposite gender and tries to make men feel hopeless and lonely and nihilistic and think that all women are horrific. I mean, I've seen this content firsthand. I've seen the content that some of these creators have made about me and about other women and just have said horrific things. And you think while you're watching it, this man is deeply hurt, and the men who are consuming this kind of content aren't being led down a path of healthy and happy future relationships in their life. It's doing quite the opposite. So I will say I was pleasantly surprised to not see video games on the least attractive list, which also has me questioning the validity of the list given how unattractive this has been to women historically. But I digress. So just overall, taking a look at the top 15 least attractive hobbies, I think when a hobby starts to define your entire identity or keeps you emotionally stuck, it naturally becomes less attractive, especially to women looking for something grounded and self-aware. But here's the good news. Your hobbies are not for anyone else. They're not for your friends, your mom, even women. They're for you. It should be something that genuinely fills you with joy and fulfillment. Having interests makes you a more well-rounded and interesting person. Some people will vibe with what you love and others won't, and that's okay. At the end of the day, authenticity is what really stands out. So be yourself, do what you love, and the right people will appreciate it. While I wouldn't necessarily tell you to pick up a hobby or stop a hobby because of what women think, I do have to be honest and say I think a lot of the hobbies in this top 15 least attractive hobbies to women list, it's not so much about being unattractive to women as it is being detrimental to you and your growth as a person and being more harmful than helpful. Like comic books, no. Cosplay, no. Magic the Gathering, anime, makeup. Some of these things I'm not talking about, but there are a lot of the hobbies on this list. The manosphere, gambling, porn, marijuana, clubbing, cigars, alcohol that are not necessarily healthy or helping you be the man that maybe you would like to become. The thing I always like to recommend is really to think about the man that you want to be and think about if your daily habits and your hobbies and the things that you're participating in are leading you towards that guy that you want to be or further away. And if they are leading you further away, then you should be questioning if you should continue doing those things, just like anything else. So let me know down in the comments, do you agree with this list? Are there any hobbies that you think are secret green flags that didn't make the cut? Red flags also. Would love to hear a man's perspective on this down below. Maybe also some attractive and unattractive hobbies for women. And if you're a woman watching, do you agree with these two charts as well? So would love to hear from you guys down below. If you like this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, also be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with you guys over on there as well. Before I go, I also want to say, sorry, this video is so long. I was going to do 2 separate videos, but I thought that it would be better just putting it all in one. I don't know, just better to have it all in one place in my opinion. If you think otherwise, let me know down in the comments. But I wanted to kind of just go through it all at once so that we could compare the two and it was fresh. And yeah, apologies for the length of the video, but if you made it all the way through, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.